I'll call this meeting of the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee to order, please. First item of business is to nominate a chairperson. I will please ask for nominations for chair. Alderperson Wagner has nominated Alderperson Witzel. Are there any additional nominations? Seeing none, I'll close the nominations and ask for a motion. Do I have a second? And if we could vote, please, just a voice vote. Witzel? Wagner?
Yeah.
Spiros? Yeah. Tompkins? Hendler?
Yes, please. Y'all saw your yard sign. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the election for vice chairperson. So I will open up the floor for nominations for vice chair. Mr. Wagner. We have a nomination for Mrs. Spiros. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none, I will accept a motion. Yes. Motion to approve. Second by Mrs. Tompkins. Yes.
Wagner?
Yes.
Spiros? Tompkins? Hendler?
That motion passes. Next item, identify potential conflicts of interest. You've seen the agenda. Does anybody wish to identify a conflict of interest with the items on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to number 5, citizens' comments. Are there any citizens who wish to make comments? Any citizen comments? Third time, citizen comments. We'll close that. Move on to number 6, consent agenda. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. We have a motion by Mr. Wagner, second by Mrs. Spiros. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries unanimously. We'll skip number 7, nothing was removed. Number 8, request to recommend council approval of resolution number 2022-09, approving committed fund balance classifications estimated to be $268,896 for continuing appropriations in 2022, presented by Jennifer Selensky, Finance Director.
Thank you. In order to comply for financial reporting purposes with GASB 54, which classifies our fund balance in terms of non-spendable, restricted, committed, or unrestricted, we have solicited those funds that were not intended to be spent in 2021, that have a valid reason to be carried over into 2022, those being detailed in Exhibit A. We brought before you Resolution 2021-62 as an estimate. This resolution 2022-9 is for the amounts that we actually intend to carry over given the year-end close. So with that, I would recommend approval of 2022-9, approving committed fund balance classifications in the amount of $268,896 for continuing.
What's your pleasure? Moved. A motion by Spiros to approve.
We need a second.
Second by Tompkins. Any discussion? Mr. Wagner.
Yeah, thank you. There are two of them I have questions about. Number one, Is the enterprise business software to cover something that has been started but not yet finished?
Correct. We wrapped up the implementation of the special assessments and business licensing modules this past month, and have recently gone live with those. So those were as part of the whole EBS plan that was started, a couple of years ago, are wrapping up. So those bills,
And the reason I ask that is enterprise business software seems to be a staple of our carryovers. So it strikes me as that that's something that's never quite finished or never quite completed. Can I ask Mr. Barg if there is an end to this?
There is. I think we're nearing it, actually. This has been a multi-year process to upgrade our software. It's happened in pieces and different segments. I think it's a 4-year deal that's, I think, wrapping up here in the next year or so. So that's why you're seeing, so much per year for a 4-year period of time.
But the other thing is on the city hall boiler, that was something we budgeted for even at the beginning of last year. They didn't do it last year at all?
I believe we found another way, but we're looking at another way to do that.
that's the same
What do you mean another way to do it? I mean,
funding.
I don't believe so. I apologize for this. I'm sorry. I didn't really talk to Jennifer about this, but I think Dan brought it forward through Board of Public Works and Council, the need to replace it sooner rather than later. And I think we put that on the target funding to carry forward. And that would be for 2022. Now, I don't know if it actually has ARPA on it now or not, but I know that's why we had to carry it forward to get it done this year, because it won't last much longer.
yeah, I was under the impression we did put it under ARPA too, so I don't know. I'll have to go back and check, but
Yeah. But we made the decision to do this before we actually had made a decision in terms of a recommendation for ARPA funding. So I think this may have been part of the general carryover. And again, I apologize that I'm scrambling to answer your question.
Carryover that would go into unrestricted, unreserved, right?
It would not be classified as a committed fund
Right.
balance.
I mean, if we're past this, we're classifying 23,500 of this total of 268 for the boilers.
We do not need a duplicate source, correct?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
We would not need to reserve it if it is now part of the ARPA funding.
Okay. I'll ask Steve to look at that, but
Well, yeah.
we'll have to pass.
I'll tell you what, yeah, and before it gets to council, I'll send this body a memo and clear that up, and we can announce that at the council meeting as well to make sure we know why that's still on this list. In fact, it's not supposed to be, but I do think it belongs here. But we will answer your question.
Yeah, if it's going to be on the ARPA list, we can just delete it from the motion.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Mr. Wagner, are you satisfied, or would you prefer that we wait with a vote on this?
As long as we can get another, as one of my colleagues likes to say, another kick at this cat. Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to come forth in front of the council, and you're good with that?
Right.
All right. Any other discussion? So we have a motion to approve the recommendation to send this to council with a second and no further discussion. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, request to recommend council approval to refill vacant associate planner position presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you. Emmett Simkowski has submitted his resignation from that position effective May 10th, we believe to be his last working day, which would be a week from today. Provided the job description, that person works in the Development Services Department, does a lot of items, including enforcing and administering zoning ordinances, if I slow down here, assisting with site plan reviews, kind of leads the charge with our development review team, processes conditional use permits, site plans, variances, sign permits, and those types of things, and prepares and presents a lot of reports to the Plan Commission at their monthly meetings as well regarding land use issues. So it's an important position in our department. I'm recommending that the committee recommend council authorization to begin the process of refilling this vacant position of associate planner.
What's your pleasure? Move to approve by Spiros. Second by Wagner. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Number 10, request to recommend council approval of the 2023 budget calendar presented by Steve Bark, City Administrator.
Thank you. In the past, I brought this directly to the full council, but it dawned on me the other day that this is called the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee, and it seemed appropriate to bring it through here and then funnel it on to the council. The proposed 2023 budget calendar that you have before you is very similar to last year. It starts out with an update to the council in the early part of September, where we're at, answer some questions about what the expected playing field is going to look like. And then we have 3 meetings, possibly 4, if necessary, in October. We've had years where we've had to skirt away from the league conference. I always encourage as many members of the council as possible to go to the annual League of Wisconsin Municipalities contest. I think last year at the conference, we had like 2/3 of the body, which is really wonderful to see. If you haven't gone before, it's a great experience to hear what's going on in other communities. This year's conference is going to be in La Crosse, and it is the 19th to the 21st of October. That's a Wednesday through Friday. So if we meet on the Monday, the 17th for that second meeting, we'll be just fine. So staff would recommend that council approve the 2020 budget calendar as far as council meetings.
Pleasure. Motion by Tompkins to approve. Second by Spiros. Any discussion? I have a quick question regarding that Monday, the 17th meeting. You said that the league conference is the 19th.
Right.
On the 19th?
Right. And some years we've had either a council meeting or this committee meeting on the Tuesday of that week, which people don't want to do because they want to get off to the conference, get settled Tuesday night, and just wake up in the host city. But being on a Monday, we're going to dovetail the meeting right after Board of Public Works. So now the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee meeting, which would normally be held on the 18th, we're going to have to talk about how we want to deal with that for those members.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah.
Often we move that after the Public Works meeting on that Monday in order to be able to free up that Tuesday for travel for those that want to attend. And if we're having a budget meeting, that will not work. Maybe
we find a way to try and do it all in one night.
We've done that.
We've done that before. You're right.
Yeah.
Mr. Wagner?
Yeah, they say it runs from Wednesday to Thursday, or Friday. Actually, it's from Tuesday. There's the so-called deep dive sessions, which there are 2-hour-and-a-half sessions on Tuesday morning usually.
No, Tuesday morning?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking Wednesday morning. I know they have like from 9 to noon on Wednesday morning, they call them deep dives. But regardless, I know a lot of
times it's travel on Tuesday. I'm not aware of a lot of sessions that occur.
Well, either way, either way this will work.
Yeah. Typically, many of the members of this body want to get there on Tuesday night, which I think is a good idea. So they don't want to have Tuesday night meetings. But your idea of trying to move finance up so that it can all be done in one night on Monday makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that would be my only concern is to have the, Board of Public Works at 5:30. This, the budget meeting at 6. That's a second meeting. That means it's going to be a fairly long budget meeting, followed then by a finance, budget, personnel would be pretty long night.
No, I know. In the old days, back in the other building, we ran finance and Board of Public Works at the same time in different rooms at 5:30, then came together for a 6 o'clock council meeting. Why don't we just look at adopting this schedule now, and we'll work out to try and find a way to make it all work so that people can leave on Tuesday.
Okay.
And just be gone.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Number 11, adjourn to closed session under Wisconsin Statute Chapter 19.85 Sub 1 Sub C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governing body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility, specifically request for variance from policy number 3.510, vacation. I have a motion by Spiros, second by Wagner. Roll call vote, please. Yes.
Wagner?
Yes.
Spiros? Tompkins? Hendler?
I don't have a gavel up here, so we're in closed session. the video people a moment. We're back in open session. In closed session, we were discussing a request for a variance on policy number 3.510. What is your desire? Mr. Wagner?
Move to, grant variance request of the policy 510, as recommended by, city administrator.
All right, we have a motion to approve, second by Spiros. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Number 15, suggested items for future agendas. Mrs. Tompkins.
Can we request that the vacation policy is looked at?
Yes, we have a request to revisit vacation policy. Anything else? Yes, Mr. Bard.
I'll just mention two items that staff has on its list. One is a budget resolution regarding transferring money to purchase the land adjacent to Yellowstone Industrial Park. Many of you know that we've been working with UW to purchase more industrial land for more industrial growth down there because we've run out of big parcels. And UW, the regents have now agreed to the sale, so we need to transfer the funds to execute. And we'll go more in depth on that in 2 weeks. The other item is we finally appear to have agreement on the final piece of the tourism entity agreement with Visit Marshfield. There's been some discussion about the paragraph on records retention and that type of thing. So expect to see a first draft of that agreement proposal in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what? Yeah, it was a discussion about the records retention piece between our attorney and their attorney. We've had open records requests on these kind of things with other quasi-governmental agencies, but I think we've reached a good point now to bring something forward to you in 2 weeks.
All right, we'll look forward to that discussion at that time. Anything else? All right, seeing nothing else and seeing no further business on the agenda, I declare this meeting adjourned.